live a life of service. My dad always told me, live a life of service. Don't leave this world, and who cares about your purse? Nobody cares about your car. They don't care how cute you look. They care about what you did to change the world. So I'm trying.
You stretch it. And so I encourage you to continue to do it. Awesome. This song is in honor of you guys and all of you in this room, called The Power of a Woman.
All right, all right.
Your favorite song, incredible what you can achieve. When she really, 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 the force behind everyone that's great. She'll sacrifice and do whatever it takes. Never understand.
So much phenomenal.
An 80-year-old person, and you keep playing basketball, by the time you're 30, you're not going to be able to ball. But this is all. That she loves. You see her nature comes from God above. So many different roles she plays. It's surprising what she does in a single day. Never underestimate the power of a woman. She's amazing and inspiring. And everything nice, beauty inside and out will entice. Her price is far above, so much higher than diamonds, rubies and pearls. She's the only one who can carry a child, bring life into the world. Celebrate, yeah, the power of a woman. Celebrate, come on, the power of a woman. The power of a
Okay, my name is Aurea McGarry, and I'll go first, and then I'll be Deborah's turn, and I hope it inspires you. Basically, being up here, I'm just so amazed that song was first. That's a very special song to me, because it is all about the climb, and my story is just one big climb sometimes. You ever feel like, Lord, I can't handle one more thing? You know, if obstacles bring character, then I'm a hoot, because I've had enough. And it's like, it just builds character. But sometimes don't you just want to get to the top and say, are we ever going to arrive and get there? But I want to give you hope, because my life started out, I was born and raised in New York City with a multi-millionaire Greek tycoon father. So I was ice skating with Dorothy Hamill, and I was having the vacations in Lake Placid, and that's all I knew. But it's funny how God gives you a turn. My legacy is from all the obstacles. It's not from all my good times. When I was 15, my dad was murdered by the mafia. He was shot 3 times. Can you hear me without it? He was shot 3 times in the head, thrown out of a car, and left for hitchhikers to find. Somehow, one of the mafias did not want my dad to be in the picture because he was a very high-powered attorney and going to some kind of shipping business that was stepping on somebody's toes. I don't know the story. All I know that I was 15 years old and I had everything, and I went the next day having nothing. And you learn how to be a sort of thriver at that moment. And God's given me just a great sense of, I don't worry in the moment, I'm given to action. Okay, this has happened, now what do I do? I'll grieve like 6 months later when things have settled down. We all handle things differently. But that has served me well. So from there, my whole life changed, and we had to move to Queens from New York, and then we moved back into the city. And I graduated high school when I was 16 years old, because I needed to get into the real world and help my mom support us. And to do that, I had to step out of my comfort zone, and I couldn't afford private school on my own, and I'm in New York City, and I didn't want to go to public school because all I had known was private school. So I auditioned for the high school that's like Fame. You ever see that movie? My age is showing now. But they made a remake, so the younger ones will know it too. So I said, okay, I had no choice. So when I got in, which surprised me, but I had to do that, from there I was able to double up and take an 11th and 12th grade together, and graduated when I was 16 to get into the real world. And from there, went to college, realized the real world isn't so fun. It was more fun being in high school. Couldn't go back then, I already finished that part of my life. So I moved to Florida and pursued my college career there. Figured I wanted to, go into marine biology, be with animals, but my life kept gearing me more towards theater, because I'd done soap operas in New York City, Edge of Night. And I loved the theater, I loved being on stage, I loved entertaining, and I loved making people laugh, and that was just in me, but that world is a very tough world. So I did not like stepping on toes. I would go to auditions, and I really seriously want you to get the part too. And I'd be like, oh, well, if you get the part, that means I don't get the part. So that's what everybody's cheerleader. So I ended up, when I moved to Florida, I got married, and I married a pastor's son. And I thought life now was going to be the white picket fence, and everything would be great. And I ended up in domestic violence. And I realized then that God does not have grandchildren. You're either his child or not. You're not his child because your parents are pastors or good. You have to live the life yourself. I was thinking I could fix him. I was thinking he was going to get nice. Doesn't work. That's a whole other teaching I teach on how to avoid domestic violence, signs of domestic violence, things like that. But I survived that and had a beautiful daughter through that. But I wrote a poem that's titled, One Black Eye is One Too Many. Because I always used to say I only got one black eye. But he beat my face in 6 times for wanting to get my hair done. He did not want me to look pretty. I could not look up and see a man's eyes, because if I did, I'd be screamed at for 2 weeks. I could not go to a male doctor. I could not have anybody, even in church, around me that was male without him, on me. It was a terrible way to live, because I'm such a golden retriever. I'm so faithful and loving, and there's no need to worry about me. I'm just one of those people, even in high school, I would break up before I'd even look at another guy, because that's just the way I am. But it was just one of the things, you must be looking at someone, you must be doing something wrong. That's a terrible way to live. And it took me from being very extroverted and very loving life to always being like this. To the point he wouldn't even let me teach children's church with the little boys. But I did it because I wanted that free car. And wanted, if I could, make enough money for my school. 1 year of doing work. And that represents anything that you're doing. It just represents what's about to happen. Earning my own money. Going somewhere where people are praising you and cheering you on and some girl power. Coming home to domestic violence, every day walking out of that house in tears, because he would find a reason to scream at me, find a reason why the phone calls were harassing and degrading and
have to go back and win my next car, Mary Cat. I said, okay, I can do this. My stepdad calls me. And he goes, are you sitting down? I said, why? He goes, we took your mom to the doctor, and she's got cancer, it's the second time, and she's got about 2 weeks to live. And that was my best friend. Still my best friend. And I was like, I said, what? This time it wasn't Hodgkin's like the first time. It was liver and lung cancer. She was a smoker. They said it's bad, and she said it's the gathering. And at that moment, I didn't believe it. I said, well, she's being cancer before she'll beat it. My Mary Kay director used to be a nurse. She was ready to go home. You drop everything you're doing, go home, you say goodbye to your mom. Because liver and lung cancer back in the early 90s was not a good diagnosis. I'm glad I listened to her. And I went back to New York City, and that was the last time I saw her. She lasted 5 months. And that was the worst day of my life. But here, God steps in. 2 months before I lost my mom, God introduced me to my attorney. I didn't know it yet, but once I got out to restaurant, I knew one thing that I wanted out of a man. If I ever even let another man in my life, I did not want to cry, I wanted to laugh again. I just wanted someone to make me laugh. And so instead of going back and working in restaurants that I used to in college, I went and I became a matchmaker and worked in a dating club. That's smart. I wanted to feel pretty again, because I did not feel pretty. I felt so horrible and didn't even know where to begin. And I was like 32, 33. And so I ended up being a really good matchmaker, because I love people. And I saw good things about you that somebody else would like, and I sought to help people see what they weren't going to see. Cancer, but it's a good cancer, right? It's a good cancer, and it's curable, and you're going to be fine. The bad news is we had to remove half of both your lungs, your thymus gland, the lining around your heart, disconnect half your diaphragm, and remove the nerve, your vocal cord nerve, and you're probably never going to speak again. Okay. First thought, okay, Lord, you're going to show me how to live this life without a voice, and you can do it, or you're going to give me back my voice. And you don't need my vocal cord to do that. Either way, let's move on. There's kids that don't have arms and limbs and homes. That's fine. Remember me, the cheerleader? Rather it happen to me than my daughter or somebody else. We can do this. So I couldn't speak for like 2 years. I said, okay, you know, life's tough, and it was a really hard life. But from there, my voice started getting better and better. A little dream of someday saying, I'd like to thank you. Because I always wanted to do, show business TV, love that part. Never thought it'd be a reality for me. When I was on that I want to say gurney, whatever, all the tubes coming out, Lord said, you're going to write a book, it's going to inspire people. 7 years later, I did write the book, I Won't Survive, I'll Thrive. I'm not a writer, I just told a story. From that, God said, you're going to do a TV show. And I'm going to show good stories about good people doing great things, which are nonprofits and charities. Well, it was like me, Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland, me and my husband. You know how to put on a show? Nope. You? Nope. Let's do it. Okay. I want to tell you, don't wait till all the signs are green to do what God has called you to do. But what I do is I put one step in front of the other, and if it's going to work, it keeps opening. If it's not, it'll stop. Say, okay, Lord, here we go. In 1 year, I told 22 stories of nonprofits and charities. Told the story. Went from doing it at a little theater to doing it with Wes Sargentson from NBC News, doing it, telling the story of Locust Grove, Georgia, where Noah's Ark, where this woman has rescued 1,900 animals, lions and tigers and bears. That's it. And she has raised 305 foster children. Those are my heroes. And from that, I got a hug by a monkey. I got kissed by a 1,000-pound bear. Animal lover. I won the Emmy for having a talk show with animals as my co-star, a woman that gives back to children. I do not have a vocal cord nerve to do it, and I was 48 years old. What's stopping you from your little girl dream coming true? Nothing. You are enough right now for your legacy to come true. You don't need to be another thing. You don't need to be taller, shorter, thinner, fatter. Doesn't make any difference. You have all the DNA from God that you need right now for all your dreams come true. Don't let anything stop you or anyone stop you. And as women, stop thinking about all the reasons why you can't do it and start thinking about, I'm going to do it anyway. And it's so much more fun, my life with the obstacle, to do it anyway. Because then I get to give God the glory anyway. If everything was all green, I'd be like, oh, yeah, of course I can do this. But there's a million reasons why I should not be standing here. And I'm not done. I now have a summit called Living Legacy Summit, where I honor good people doing good things. We'll talk more about that later. It's coming up in September. But I'm here to help you. I'm a matchmaker for people and charities. You need to know anybody. I just love people, and God's going to use my voice to help as many as we can. Because when I die, I want to be totally used up, not an ounce of talent left untapped. And I don't know what my future holds, but I just know you are not too old and you're not too young to start right now.
blind dog's mouth.
Falling down.
Falling down, exactly.
Oh, you got great shoes.
Yes. Shall we check out my shoes? Shall I take them in the air? Every time you see me, I'll have a different hair color and a different hairstyle. So the next time you see me, I will look like I look right now. But that's okay too. That's part of the journey, right? My story began when I was a teeny little child, the daughter of a deacon, a Southern Baptist. So you know Southern Baptist. Are you Southern Baptist? You know, you do this. If you do things like, I don't know, play guitar or something in the church, you know, that puts you on the fast track to hell. You know, very legalistic. This is what you can do. This is what you cannot do. This is what girls do. This is what girls do not do. So my father was the deacon. So I was smart enough when I was a little kid to help him count the money and prepare it for the deposit on Monday because I don't know. Guys, shut your ears for a minute. Women's got this thing, y'all. When we connect with people, we build rapport with people. And it's almost like when people get to know you, they sort of forget you're a girl. They want you for what you can help them do. Exactly. And how to help them get where they're going, you know? So forget the fact that I'm a girl because it doesn't matter in the boys' world range of women. And when you develop a rapport with someone, you get to know them, you're nice to them, you give them what they need, what your expertise is. If I ask anybody in here, what turns you on? What lights your fire? What makes you excited and want to jump up? Can you tell me what it is? Is there anybody in here that can't tell me what? Now that might not be what your job is right this moment, but is there anybody in here that can't tell me what turns you on? And that thing way down deep inside. So when you are figuring out how to dig out that passion, whatever it is in your heart, and you polish it up, and you expand it, you expand your whole life. If you have that priority list, it's God for me, you know, for me, it's God, and then it's me, and then it's my husband and my children, and then it's the career. And when you get it in that order, and you surround yourself with people who will just say, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. So whatever it is that's in your life is the path from here to here, success. No, it's about the journey. It's about the climb. I cannot agree that that was the perfect song to set us up for the perfect getting us going. Because it is about the climb. And have I made mistakes? Yes. It is success is not a straight line. You develop your character, you develop your perseverance, you develop your experience through all the ziggled lines that go from, you know, here to here. And if you start down the wrong path and it doesn't feel right, all you have to do is slam on the brakes, put it in reverse, and back up.
Okay, you had it. Anything we answer any questions? Good?
Yeah. So tell me, okay, so who's on their path of something that they really, 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 really want to do?
Who has an obstacle?
Fabulous. Who has an obstacle?
Has she had an obstacle? Real I just
Yeah.
can go up.
They're an expert. You're an expert in something too. What is for you? You're an expert in you.
Okay, I'm an expert research scientist.
Yay!
Oh!
I am a research scientist. I'm Dr. Tyra Ellison. My passion is cooking. I love to cook.
Oh, good, mine isn't.
All my friends, and we always cooking. We're always cooking. So I had an idea to do a YouTube kind of like cooking show, like a test.
Yeah.
Those are hot now.
And so you just confirmed that, so I just wanted to say that.
Oh, absolutely. If I could do a cooking show now, I could do a how not to cook show. That's what it says. He's in the kitchen. You don't need your own show. I'm like, where's my cooking? That's not really.
But we all have a passion for something. And I think we have to put passions on the end because I do more than one thing.
You know what
And
somebody
we're all
called me
good
at
at more than one thing.
the Spark Household? They said that we're multi-passionate.
Yes,
Well, multipassionate. Because I do so many things. You go back to my table, like, now, what do you do? This, and this. I'm multi-passionate. I can't pick one. And being a domestic violence survivor and cancer survivor, people say all the time, well, why don't you just give back to those too? Because I've never met a nonprofit that I didn't follow work with. Children and animals and human trafficking. You come up to me and every good cause is worth, me spotlighting. I can't just pick one. You can't just pick one town.
Anybody a hallelujah person? That's such a versatile word. I mean, you can say, oh, hallelujah, the policeman stopped me as I was driving 200 miles an hour by him. Hallelujah Sunday morning, and we just gotta lift God and praise His name, right? So we gotta stand up, get that blood flowing. Here we go. Praise, hallelujah, praise. I was born to praise His name. Yeah, I was born to praise His name. Clap your hands, lift your voice, stomp your feet, raise your worship. Clap your hands, lift your voice, stomp your feet. It's time to worship. Street.
Soon.